Tonight, your brain is going to do something it never does while you're awake. It's going to lie to you on purpose. It's going to build entire worlds, fill them with people who don't exist, and convince you completely that all of it is real. And in the morning, you'll forget almost all of it. We call this dreaming. For most of history, we assumed it was meaningless. Noise. Static left over from a brain that never fully shuts off. It isn't. In 1952, a graduate student named Eugene Aserinsky was running a sleep experiment at the University of Chicago. He hooked his 8-year-old son up to a machine that tracked eye movement, mostly because the boy was the easiest subject he had access to. Late that night, the readout showed something strange. The boy's eyes behind closed lids were moving fast, back and forth, again and again, like he was watching something happen right in front of him. Aserinsky woke him up. The boy said he'd been dreaming. That observation became one of the most important discoveries in neuroscience. We now call it REM sleep, rapid eye movement. And it turns out that flickering behind your eyelids happens every night of your life, whether you remember it or not. For a long time, scientists assumed dreaming was just a side effect. Your brain, left idle, firing randomly while the rest of you rested. A kind of biological exhaust. Then, in the 1980s, a researcher named Alan Hobson at Harvard found something different. During REM sleep, the brain isn't quieter than when you're awake. In some regions, it's louder. The visual cortex lights up. The emotional centers, especially the amygdala, surge with activity. Meanwhile, one part of the brain goes almost completely dark. The prefrontal cortex. This is the part responsible for logic, planning, and self-control. It's the part that, when you're awake, looks at a flying car or a conversation with someone who's been dead for years and says, "That's not possible." During a dream, that part goes quiet. Nothing is there to say, "That's not possible." So nothing is. That's why you can be standing in your childhood kitchen, talking to a coworker you've never met, and not find any of it strange. Not until you wake up. But why would your brain do this? Why build elaborate simulations every single night only to delete most of them by morning? The first clue came from memory. In 2010, a team led by Robert Stick Gold at Harvard had volunteers play a 3D maze game for an hour, then take a nap. Some of them dreamed about the maze. Vague, fragmented dreams. Just walls and corners, nothing like the actual gameplay. The people who dreamed about the maze, even slightly, performed dramatically better when they played it again. The dreaming itself seemed to be doing something, not just reflecting the memory, working on it. Sleep, and REM sleep specifically, is when your brain takes the raw experiences from your day and decides what to keep, what to connect, and what to throw away. Here's where it gets strange. Because your brain doesn't do this quietly, in the background, the way a computer might run overnight maintenance. It does it by building a scene, a simulation, with you in it. One theory, from researcher Aaron Wamsley, suggests dreams are your brain testing connections. While the prefrontal cortex is offline, your brain takes two memories that have nothing to do with each other, your childhood kitchen, a coworker, and forces them into the same scene. Most of these connections are useless. They get discarded immediately. But some of them aren't. Some of them are the connections that, the next day, feel like insight. Dreaming might be your brain's version of brute force creativity, generating thousands of random combinations overnight on the off chance that one of them turns out to be useful. There's a reason for that too. A neurotransmitter called acetylcholine, central to memory formation, drops to its lowest level of the entire day during REM sleep, then spikes again right as you wake up. That spike appears to actively work against forming new memories from what you just experienced. Your brain isn't failing to remember your dreams. It's making sure you don't. Which raises an uncomfortable question. If most of what happens in your dreams gets deliberately erased, how much of your inner life every single night are you living through and never knowing it? Some researchers estimate that by the time you're 70, you'll have spent roughly 6 years of your life dreaming. 6 years of experiences. Conversations, decisions, fear, relief, Entire arcs that start and end and mean something, at least for the few seconds they're happening. Almost none of it survives past breakfast. There's one more piece, and it might be the strangest part of all. Children under the age of 7 rarely report dreaming about themselves. In study after study, when researchers wake young children during REM sleep and ask what they were dreaming about, the dreams are often simple: animals, objects, scenes without a clear main character. The dreaming you, the version of yourself that exists inside your dreams as a participant, seems to develop gradually around the same age children begin forming a continuous sense of self while awake, which means dreaming isn't separate from who you are. It might be one of the places where you was built in the first place, a nightly rehearsal space where your brain, freed from logic and consequence, practices being a person having an experience. So tonight, when you fall asleep, your brain is going to do this again. It's going to build a world, put you inside it, and run a simulation that, for a few minutes or a few hours, will feel as real as anything that's ever happened to you. And by the time you open your eyes, almost all of it will be gone, not lost, erased on purpose, by a brain that every single night decides what's worth keeping from a version of your life you'll never get to remember living.